Hey guys, it's Rob from Hypop and welcome back to another video. In this one, we have an exciting unboxing and review of the brand new Godox AD1200 Pro. Thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We unbox different Godox products, including the brand new Godox AD1200 Pro. If you want to see the video on that, click the link up above. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated of all the latest videos that we release. Drop a like on this video if it's helped you in any way, and leave a comment down below your thoughts or any questions you have about the brand new Godox AD1200 Pro. Let's jump into it. So here we have it, the brand new Godox AD1200 Pro, all packaged up into this little luggage bag. It's sort of like a carry-on size, more like a larger carry-on size bag. I know here in Australia the weight limits are about 7 kilos for a carry-on. I don't think that would fit in there, but it's neat and packaged into this little roller bag. It has wheels at the bottom here, and it's really impressive coming from Godox because a lot of their other flashes don't have these sorts of bags, so it's good to see that the top of the range 1200 Pro has this neat bag that it comes in. So first things first, we'll look at the bag. Obviously it's grain material here, and it's got quite a lot of different compartments. It's got the Godox branding up the front here. It's also got 2 zipper compartments at the front. So these zipper compartments, in the bottom one here houses a little rain cover for the bag. So that's if you're traveling outdoors with it. And at the top here, there's another zipper opening, but it's actually towards the top where the zipper comes into. It doesn't go down below, it goes up top here. So that's for your little accessories, maybe little remotes, triggers, things like that. Now on the left side here, we have some straps. These are just some buckles here. You could actually probably feed a tripod or perhaps a light stand on the side here. And you've got little adjustable straps to lock them in. And at the back here, we have, firstly, right at the top towards the back, you have a zipper opening and a little Velcro pouch that actually has the little luggage handle here. You can pull out. It's that pull-out handle that you can use to carry or pull around your bag, your roller bag. And towards the back here, we have another zipper opening. And that reveals some shoulder straps here, or some backpack straps. So this is pretty cool because although it is quite a big bag, it isn't too heavy. I'd say it's less than 10 kilos, the entire package inside, unless you put more items in there. So it's not too bad to actually place on your back if you're carrying this. If you're going on rough terrain, for example, you're on location, you can't lug it around with the wheels, you can swing it onto your back and that way carry your bag into your shot location. And you've got little hooks here that just hook onto the bottom that's attached to the bottom of the bag here. So you just hook them on. And there you have it. So you got a backpack strap, which is really neat to have. Now on the right side, you've also got one more strap here, and that's for also another light stand or a tripod or something. It's got a little pouch here where I'd say you can put the legs through and then just lock it and secure it into place with this little strap. So there's a lot of little compartments there. Now on the front here, you've also got another zipper that opens up, and inside you've got all the different segments here as well. Got different segments that you can segment the inside of your bag with. And then when you remove all of that, there's a fairly large space in here that'll be big enough to fit something like a laptop, easily a 15-inch laptop in there, even a 16-inch, maybe the MacBook Pro 16-inch, iPad, anything else, any other devices that you want to put in there. So a big space there in the front compartment. On the top here, you've also got a padded handle, which is great. All the stitching and details look fairly high quality. It's something that we haven't seen from Godox, as mentioned, so overall I can tell that they've been stepping up their game in terms of their packaging and their bags, which is great to see. Now let's open this up. We can't go without mentioning the bottom here as well. So you got the wheels. There's the wheels there. They feel like they're quite smooth ball bearings, and they've also got like a little stand there that allows it to be stable when it's stood upright. So now the zipper opening actually has some lock holes here. So if you have your own TSA locks, you can attach them to the bag, which is great. Even if you're not even just, if you bring it onto a plane or something, even if you're just transporting it and you want to ensure all the gear inside is nice and secure. Although the front zippers here, they don't have any lock placement parts, so it's only the major compartment here. Now, opening it up, it reveals the entire kit here. So firstly, on this front flap, we've got a few sort of mesh clear openings here. So they're just little pouches that you can, see what's on the inside there, which is great if you have, cables or you have spare batteries and things like that. Memory cards, got another pouch here. You also got a top pouch here and a larger one that goes the full width across the bag there. And inside that houses the manual, so that's a 1200 Pro manual. Also has the warranty card and just a QC pass card. And now in the major compartment here, a few things to digest. Firstly is a shoulder strap. So the shoulder strap is interesting because you'd probably attach it somewhere to the bag here. Most likely to the bottom of the actual, there's these little loops here at the bottom. I'm not too sure where you'd attach this shoulder strap, but we'll put that to one side first. And you've got a battery charger. So here's a battery charger. It doesn't have any Godox branding or anything, but it does have the little charger indicators here as well as the power LED. Now this is a 42 volt charger, 1.8 amp, supports 100 to 240 volts, so that's going to be an international one. And here in Australia we have this Australian cable. Now we got the head, so large head here, it's the AD1200 Pro head, it's called the H1200P. Now if you've seen any of the Godox products, the previous ones, the AD600 Pro has an extension head as well, it's called the H600P. It actually almost looks the same in size, if not just slightly bigger. And in terms of build quality, it looks the same. It's got this nice metal mount here, and it's got a pretty sturdy tilting handle there. And it also has an umbrella mount here, which is basically that friction hold umbrella mount. So that's great. And you also have the 5/8 inch spigot mounting point here for light stands. And now this cable here, that's the cable that connects to the power pack. And that's 3.6 meters in length. So you've got a lot of length there. So if you're mounting this to, a boom stand, a C stand, you've got a lot of length there to work with. And at the front here, you've got a reflector. So the H1200P for the AD1200 Pro is a Bowens Mount. So you can see it there. It's a Bowens Mount. And this looks like the AD-R9, which is the Godox AD600 Pro reflector. And it's pretty much the same thing. It's got that silver reflective material there on the inside, and it sort of replaces the standard Bowens reflector. This is Godox's version, which is nice and streamlined. And put that to one side. And you've got the battery here. So this box houses the battery. It's all sealed up, but we'll open this up here. Okay, so this is the 1200 Pro battery. So it's called the WB1200H, and it is a 36 volt, 5.2 amp hours and 187.2 watt hours battery, and it basically provides 500 full power output shots with a single charge. So that's the full power of the 1200 watts there, which is great. And it has a little handle here that has a little spring out handle. So if you actually release this tab here, that pops the handle out, allows you to stand the battery up or hold the handle and carry around the battery if needed. And it also has little battery indicators there that show the output or how much battery left that you have. And at the front here, you've got like a little DC input and also the input for the power pack, which we'll show now. So this little pouch here houses the power pack. It's also Godox branded. It's made from the same material as the bag, and it has a few sort of mesh openings here. So on the side here is a mesh opening, and on the other side, a little netted mesh opening there too. And that's actually the same positions as where the fans are for the power pack. So it allows the power pack to still stay inside this case here, but also be sort of vented or air vented there. So if it generates any heat, which it will when shooting, at least you know that it will be vented there and it's not all sealing in that heat from the air there. So now the case actually has a little window at the top here, which is great because what you'll see on the top there, you have the little dials and the buttons as well as the screen that tells you all the settings. So you'll be able to see that through the actual pouch, even though it is mounted into the pouch. Here we go, here's where the shoulder straps go. So the shoulder straps go onto this carry pouch here as well. So I'd imagine if you have some sort of assistant, you'd be able to get them to, you know, carry this on a shoulder strap, or perhaps even just mount it onto a C-stand. You can hang that off the C-stand with the power pack inside, and you've got this adjustable shoulder strap that you can mount to the sides there of the casing. So that's that there. And there we have it. So there's the power pack, and as mentioned, there's the two fans that those holes will be venting. And the power pack itself is quite heavy and sturdy. If you've seen previous Godox battery packs, the L-800X, it's quite similar to that. So this one here houses this battery here, and to mount the battery, all you need to do is just insert that into the bottom there. And there we have it. So if you want to actually release the battery or remove it, you need to hold that out, and then you grab this handle, and at the same time you pull that tab, and that pulls out the battery too. So that's what that handle is for. So there you go. And on the top here, you've got the mounting points for the extension head. Clicks into place. It also has like a little locking mechanism at the top here. So it means it's nice and secure in terms of ensuring that there is a secure connection and you're not losing power. And yeah, overall it's a nice sturdy looking flash. Let's jump into how to operate the flash as well as some of its features. So we've got the 1200 Pro all set up here on a light stand and plugged into the battery pack here. Firstly are some of the features. Obviously the 1200 Pro is a 1200 watt flash. There's not many 1200 watt Godox flashes out there. You've only got the studio flashes, which include the DP3 series and also the QT range, where they previously had 1000 watts or 1200 watt options. So having a 1200 watt portable option is quite impressive. It's a big jump from the AD600 Pro, jumping up in double the output at 1200 Pro. And you can see they've had to make some compromises here with the external battery pack and having the head as a separate, extension here. Now, in terms of the features, it's everything that you'd expect from a Pro flash from Godox, which include high-speed sync, TTL. You've also got a 100-meter range transmission because it's compatible with all the X triggers, including the X1, the X2, and the X Pro. So that means it's going to be compatible with so many different camera brands, including Canon, Nikon, Sony. You've got Olympus, Panasonic, Pentax. So you've got all those different brands that will be compatible when you buy the native triggers for your particular camera model. Now, in terms of the output, you've actually got the color stability mode as well. So without the color stability mode, you've got a plus or minus 200K variance. So that's just standard with most other flashes, including the other flashes in this width strobe range. However, the color stability mode on the 1200 Pro actually gives you a plus or minus 75K. So that's slightly less than something as new as the AD300 Pro, which has a plus or minus 100K range. Now, why would you need color stability mode? Basically, it helps with post-editing. So when you're post-processing your photos, you can ensure that a lot of it will be nice and consistent in terms of the color renditions in the actual photos, and perfect for studio photographers as well. So if you're taking a lot of fashion shoots or portrait shoots and the model is wearing the same outfit, if they're wearing a particular color dress, you know that a lot of the photos you take, whether you're taking them in burst or if you're just taking multiple shots, you know that they're going to be nice and consistent, saving you a lot of time in color grading, at the end of when you're post-processing everything. So in terms of the actual flashes, you get 500 full power flashes with this particular battery that it has here. So that's quite a lot if you're using the full output, which most people won't be. The AD600 Pro was good already at overpowering the sun. So you may not even use this at full output. Maybe if you're shooting a wider scene, or if you've, shooting groups of people, if you're doing like a school job, for example, and you need to take a shot of the entire grade, that'd be a good example where you'd be using it at full output, even using a couple of these for that sort of shot. So this output here is, it really gives you so much, room to work with. So you can increase and decrease the intensity. Now with the recycle time, you have 0.01 seconds up to 2 seconds at full output. So you've got that big range of recycle time. Obviously at the full output at 1200 watts, you'll have a slightly slower recycle time. But in all those middle ranges, when you may or may not be using that full output, you know that your recycle time is going to be nice and fast. It also has all the front curtain sync and rear curtain sync as well. So all those features that you'd expect from a Pro model. Now let's jump in and take a look at some of the different features here on the head itself, as well as the battery pack. Now some physical features on the actual 1200 Pro kit here. Firstly is the extension head. So the extension head here has that reflector that's included, and you've got a little bit of a design change here with the actual head. So, you know, with the other AD range of flashes, you actually have a flash tube that you can remove all with one unit together with the glass covering. So with the 1200 Pro here, including the new 300 Pro, you actually have a glass cover that you can just remove like that. And you've got the flash tube as a separate component now. So the flash tube is gone back to this standard round flash tube, which is great because in the AD200 Pro, you've got the flash tube, the curved flash tube that actually sticks outwards, and the actual light itself, it wasn't filling a lot of the lighting modifiers nice and evenly, and that was a complaint that some people had. So going back to this traditional round flash tube ensures that the light's projecting in a nice even shape and that round catch light within the modifier, so you're lighting up your subject well. So you can actually remove this flash tube here, and you can order these separately. So it's always good to have a separate flash tube. You just got to be careful when removing that. It has 3 prongs here, and you know, with this you obviously have to be a little bit more careful because it doesn't have that glass covering that the other ones previously had, where you can just grab onto the glass covering and pull out that way. So you just got to be careful not to touch the flash tube when you're removing that. It's got those 3 prongs there, and you just mount it into the bottom there. And at the front here, you can see these little clips here that mount that glass cover, that protection cover. Now on the front here, you can actually see a modeling lamp. So that modeling lamp there, that's an LED modeling lamp, and it's 40 watts. So it's a lot stronger than all the other previous ones, obviously making use of that bigger battery and bigger capacity there. So it may even be used as some sort of continuous light or an impromptu, you know, LED continuous light that you can use for some video. I'm not sure how effective that would be because that would obviously use up some of your battery and that'll use it quite quickly. It'd be a good idea to have some spare batteries with this particular pack already. If you're investing that much into the 1200 Pro, a spare battery should be something that you'd be looking at. And to put that back in, it's just a matter of lining up those prongs and pushing in, and then making sure you put that glass cover back on because you obviously want to protect your flash tube so that it doesn't damage at all. Now on the front here, you've got the Bowens Mount. So it's not using Godox's mount, which is good to see because a lot of people have Bowens modifiers already. So you won't have to go out and buy all the other Godox modifiers, the Godox mount modifiers to suit. So if you've got, you know, softboxes, barn doors, beauty dishes, snoots, a whole bunch of different lighting modifiers you can mount here. And you've just got that little release tab on the back there, as well as a nice tilting handle here that helps you control the head when you release that knob there. You can control the angle of the flash there as well. Now, as mentioned earlier, it has an umbrella mount there, and also just the light stand mount there. It has 2 light stand mounts, so you've got one at the normal position, which is the upright position, and one at the front here, which you can mount if you're tilting your head downwards, or if you have it on a boom arm, for example. You can also choose to use that position there too. Now there's the reflector, and you can remove the cap there. So you use the cap obviously when it's in transport or just when in storage. And you can see the flash there, and also the inside of the reflector there is silver. So you can use that in conjunction with an umbrella, for example. That's probably when you'd be using it because it occupies that Bowens mount. So if you're going to be using a softbox or something, you'd obviously have to remove that. So this cable here is a 3.6 meter cable that connects directly to the power pack. That gives you a lot of length in terms of mounting it to a C stand or a boom stand, allowing you to elevate your light. So if you're wanting to have a little bit of elevation from your light source, it's great to have it angled down towards your subject. You can certainly do that. Now, in terms of the power pack, you can see here the power pack is roughly about 25 or 26 centimeters in width and about 23 or so centimeters in height. So it's quite compact for what it does. So basically, you've got the handle here, and it's got a rubber grip towards the bottom here. This orange part is a rubber grip, and it's made from plastic from the top here. And that obviously allows you to carry and reposition the power pack here. Now on the sides here, you've got those air vents with the fans, and you will hear those fans when you go to turn on the actual flash. Now on the top here, you've actually got a few compartments. You've got the 3.5mm jacks to be compatible with sync cables as well as third-party triggers, and you've got a USB-C opening here as well. And that USB-C opening there actually allows you to update the firmware when Godox release new firmware at their website. And when we go to press the button, the on-off button here, it's actually a nice sort of metal button, and when you press it down, it actually clicks like that, and it shows the H1200 Pro symbol on the front here. Now that leads me to believe that this power pack itself, although it does say AD1200 Pro, may support some of the other flashes in the future. So I'm thinking that they may support other upgrades in the future to other heads, whether it's from a different range or maybe some of their older flashes like the 8600 Pro, where you can utilize this battery pack here, which would be really useful. But that's something that, you know, hasn't been said yet, but it may be something in the future, because it did show that icon on the front there showing the model number, which you wouldn't really need if you already know what flash you're using, so you wouldn't need that model flashing up there. Now, in terms of the fans, you can actually hear them immediately. Now you actually can hear the fan to the back of the extension head here, and to the sides here. You can actually feel them when you're you know, putting your hands in front here, and you can actually hear it at the back of the flash here. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference in photography, so they are fan cored, the power pack and the head itself. Now the dials and the buttons here are nice. They've got some nice soft buttons here, and this dial's a nice click spinning wheel, which is great. I hate those, you know, stepless ones where you can't actually feel when it's hitting a certain setting. So it's great to see that clicks into place. And the test button here is nice and lit up in a green color. And when you go, we won't put this on full power yet. What I'll do is I'll put it on its lowest power. And when you fire that off, it clicks as well, because you do have a beeper. You've got a button here that controls the beeper as well. Let's jump into some of the settings and see what the actual flash is capable of. So looking at the control pack here, you can see the top of the panel here has the LCD screen, all the buttons, as well as the connection point. So the connection point's to the right here. You've got the sync port, you've got the USB-C port, and you've got the on-off button. So let's turn that on. And there's that little icon there, that H1200P, shows that it's connected. Now there's also an infrared port here, which is your optical sensor, and you got that big LCD screen here, and that's a familiar menu there that you'll see on the other 80 range of flashes. Now, jumping into the buttons, firstly is obviously the test button, which fires off the test. And you've got a modeling lamp button there that turns on your modeling lamp, and you can see that icon at the bottom, 20%. And you can actually hold down on this, and that'll highlight the intensity, and then you can increase. Oh, we've gone, so hold that down again. And you can increase the intensity there. Just make sure you don't spin it too much, otherwise it jumps, you can see there. Or you can just press the actual button to change the different modes that it has. So you've obviously got off, you've got setting the exact percentage that you want in the modeling lamp, and you've also got proportionate, which means that it goes up proportionate to your output here. So if you're changing your output, the actual LED reduces in output as well. Now you've got your group channel button, so that's for your wireless mode here. So wireless, you can actually turn it off if you're not going to be using the wireless mode, or if you don't want any interference, maybe you're using a sync cable or a third-party trigger, you can turn that off, but you need that on if you're going to be using the Godox X1 or X Pro or X2 triggers. Now your group channel is related to that wireless mode, so obviously you can press down and cycle through the groups. There's those 5 groups, or if you hold, that highlights your channel, and you can cycle to the channel to match to your trigger. And you've got, I'll skip this one here because that's the menu, and we'll jump into the mode. So the mode, you have 3 modes. You've got multi, you've got TTL, and you've also got manual mode. Now, if you turn off wireless, what you'll notice is there's no TTL mode, because this flash only works as a TTL slave, basically. So it's slave to the radio transmission, so you'll need to be able to use the X1, X2, or X Pro triggers. When you turn that back on, you'll be able to see that TTL mode come back there. And now jumping into the menu, there's a few different options here. And the menu, which we'll run through, shows firstly the version number, so you can update that firmware through that USB-C cable whenever they release new versions. Firstly is the color stability mode, so you can turn that on or off here. Next is slave mode. You can set what slave it is if you're using a different master. And you've got modeling lamp, which is continuous or intermittent, so that means it's always on, or it flashes when or it only turns on when the actual flash goes off. You've got standby mode, so you can set your standby mode to off, 30, 60, 90, and 120. That's if the actual light lays idle for a while, you have that And you've also got light mode, which is just your LCD backlight display here. You can turn it on always, on for 15 seconds, then it turns off, or just off completely. Leave it on 15 seconds. And you've got delay as well. This is your flash delay. So from 0.01 seconds to 30 seconds. So you can set the delay on which the flash goes off. Now you've got mask mode here. So this masking mode is useful for when you're actually, utilizing multiple flashes. It's good to use for product photography, for example. It allows you to separate your subject from the background a lot easier, especially when post-processing. So your alt mode here, which you can control in number 1 or number 2. It basically sets the number of flashes, total number of flashes, and the triggering times. So it's probably a feature that most of you won't be using. And LCD here, you've got the contrast, which you can control from -3 to +3, or just on 0. And then your wireless ID, which you can set if using other wireless triggers from the Godox range. It's good to set a wireless ID for this particular device so it separates it from others. And you've got your step here as well, which is your flash output display if you want to display it in fractions or in decimals. So you can see if you could jump into decimals and you jump back in to manual, you can see it's going up in decimals now rather than in fractions. But then when you hit it back into fractions, you can see it's gone back to its normal setting there. So you've got a reset as well. So if you're wanting to factory reset, if you hit some of the settings and you want to reset that, just hit yes. And lastly is a record of flashes here. So it actually records how many times the unit's been flashed, which is 21 times at the moment, and the high speed sync flashes as well. So that's great. It's sort of like a shutter count or something for your flash. This is something that you can't actually change, so you can't go in and change what this is. That's good for actually, I guess, aftermarket. If people are selling their secondhand flashes, you'll know and you'll be able to tell how many times this has actually been used. That being said, it's only really relevant to the actual flash tube itself, maybe relevant to the battery as well, because those are the parts that would be affected over time when using it quite frequently. But you're easily able to replace the flash tubes as well as the battery packs if you're going to be purchasing separately some new ones. So I'm not sure if that will reset it, but that's good to see that they've included that as well. Now, jumping out of the menu, we haven't talked about these two buttons here, which are the high-speed sync button. So when you press that, it shoots off high-speed sync. So you can see that being enabled, and also the Audible Beep button there, which is just a beep for when the flash goes off. Now that's pretty much it in terms of the actual flash itself. It's quite easy to use. It's a really familiar menu, and the actual instruction manual has all the different custom functions and their descriptions that you can go through for each of these menu options there. Holding this down presses the button and that turns off. So a few other things on the AD1200 Pro. Firstly are the sync ports here. So what you did notice is there's actually 2 sync ports on the control pack here, and that's used if you're going to be using multiple 1200 Pro flashes. So you can actually connect them up to reduce interference and to ensure stable sync times there across both flashes. I mean, slave modes nowadays are fairly consistent and fairly reliable, but using that sync port, so connecting another 3.5 sync cable to another power pack and using them in conjunction together allows you to ensure less interference, and also the flash goes off perfectly there. Now in terms of accessories, there are so many different accessories available for the 1200 Pro. Firstly is obviously the replacement flash tubes and batteries. So you can purchase another high capacity battery like the same as what's included here. But there also is a flight friendly battery, which is the WB1200, I believe it is called. So that one there is a lower capacity battery that you can take with you on board a flight, because this high capacity battery here, that you'd probably run into some trouble when checking that in or bringing that with you overseas. And there's also an extension cable that you can purchase for this head here. So if you needed even more length, you can do that. There's also a ring flash. So that's for the front head here. So if you're gonna be using a lot of, if you're gonna be taking a lot of portrait shots, a ring flash is a great option. That mounts to the front of the head here. And also obviously that flash tube you can purchase as a spare or a separate if that one blows, or if you have, you just need a spare basically. Now, in terms of output with the battery, the actual full charged battery will give you 500 full power shots, but if you got half output, it'll give you 1000 shots, and if you got quarter output, it'll give you 2000 shots. and at 1/8 output, it'll give you 4,000 shots. So there's a massive range there that you can use. You won't be using that full 1200 watt output. So it gives you that flexibility to be able to control the output and have a lot more shots out of this battery here, the high capacity battery. Obviously slightly less with that optional battery, which is only 2600 milliamp. But that's the battery that's included is a real high capacity battery also. So who would purchase the AD1200 Pro? Firstly, if you're after a light that'll give you maximum output, that 1200 watts, if you're wanting to overpower the sun, this will be the light to do the job. The 600 Pro is already good at doing that, but if you're after a one light kit where you have that massive range of output, if you're wanting to utilize the full strength and then step it down when you don't need as much, this will be the one to go for. Whether you're using it in studio, on location, this will be the light here. The obviously downside to this is that it's a fairly heavy kit. The entire bag is 8 kilos or so. So it's not as compact as the 8600 Pro, but then you do have that double output that you'll be getting. You could have done that with those 8600 Pros, 2 of them, and connect them up to the H1200P, which is like the connection head, to get that 1200 watt output, but this is all in that one light system here. If you're gonna be using a massive lighting modifier such as a big octa, this will be great as a one light setup as well. Overpower the sun, really create those nice shots with larger scenes. If you're gonna be taking groups of people, if you're gonna be taking large groups and large scenes, that'll be perfect for that as well. Or if you're already invested into the Godox system and you're wanting to add on to that system, if you've already got all the previous lights, if you've got 600 Pros and you've got 200 Pro and you're wanting one light that does the job, this will be the one here. Now some people may have some reservations with this light due to the price. Obviously with the larger output comes with a larger price. Godox is still fairly reasonable with their pricing, obviously quite competitive to the other options in the Pro market. This one here in Australia retails for roughly about 3,200 Australian dollars. We'll throw up some of the conversions up on the screen now, but that there obviously is quite steep for a light. If you're looking at two 600 Pros, for example, you might be spending in the 2,000 range anyway, so this will do the job in terms of that. Now, also, it's not a monoblock heads here, so some people may have reservations about it not being a monoblock head, but as you can see, the actual power pack here, if you had this at the back of the flash here, it'll just make the flash too big and cumbersome. And if you have it mounted up on a C-stand, then you'll have even more issues if that topples over for some reason and damages the light. So it's good to have that separation between the head and the power pack anyway. And lastly is just the single connection point here. So there's only one single connection point for one head here. Some people may have reservations about that because other power packs that you've seen in the market, even from Bowens or Elinchrom, have a double connection point here, which means you can connect lighter capacity heads, and you're not having to have this massive 1200 watt head here. You may have two 400 watt heads and utilizing that power pack here. So we'll see what Godox does with this power pack. Hopefully they release some sort of adapters or compatibility with some of their previous flashes, so you can utilize this power pack, and this one here is not just limited to the AD1200 Pro. So that was our thoughts on the AD1200 Pro. This flash here, I think, is the top of the range of Godox. If you want everything, you want something that will do on location, in studio, this is the one to go for. Now for more videos just like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We release many unboxings and reviews of Godox products, as well as other photo and video lighting equipment. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated of any new videos we release. Drop a like on this video if it's helped you in any way. Leave a comment down below any questions you have about the AD1200 Pro, or if you have any thoughts about it. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media at Hypop and visit our website, hypop.com.au. Thanks for watching.